Can the glitz and the glam of the world of beauty pageants mix with the world of politics? Well, if you ask my next guest, that answer is, of course. Throughout her pageant career, former Miss Texas Avery Bishop stood strong against GOP leaders and their far-right policies in her state. While she may no longer wear a crown, she still has a powerful platform. And Bishop continues her push for action on important issues, from gun violence to reproductive freedom to voting and LGBTQ+ rights. As the first Asian American contestant to win the title in the pageant's 85-year history, she's used her platform to center diversity and inclusion, lobbying in Texas against a bill that bans DEI programs. And while that bill ultimately went on to pass the Republican-led legislature, Bishop felt that she was still making progress. As she points out to the Washington Post, quote, "To be seen, that's the first step in making a lot of change." Joining me now is former Miss Texas Avery Bishop. Avery, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on the show this morning. I chuckled when I read an anecdote that you said in that Washington Post article about older white Texans who would often ask you, "Are you really Miss Texas?" And then they'd also ask you, "Where are you from?" Now, as a fellow Asian American, I get that a lot. No, but where are you really from? Not from where you're from. But how did you feel being Miss Texas, first Asian American in 85 years of that pageant history, and having them say, "Are you really Miss Texas?"
You know, I felt a lot of responsibility when I was crowned the very first. And being the first comes with somewhat of a burden to represent a community that is often overshadowed or discriminated against, specifically here in Texas. So when I won, I had a plan, but I also felt a lot of insecurity knowing that I looked the way that I do, and I had to go into a lot of rural communities. But during my year, I was able to accomplish everything that I set out to do, if not more, bringing in diversity and inclusion programming into more than 250 public schools and universities across the Lone Star State.
Avery, you also had this campaign on your platform that you've carried beyond the Miss Texas reign. Y'all means all. So what does that mean?
To me, Y'all Means All is an effort, a mission to make sure that every child and person here in Texas feel like they belong, regardless of where they come from. I was born in a really small town, not so small anymore, called McKinney, Texas. And I was one of the only physically looking Asian American students for almost a decade in my school district. I developed a sense of insecurity, a sense that I didn't belong anywhere. And I convinced myself that I didn't deserve to try things because I didn't see myself in places that I wanted to be in and to go to. So during that time of insecurity, I was able to find my voice through my college and university to make sure that no child felt that way and that they received equitable resources, especially in public schools, such as books, so that they're taught the importance of being respectful to other people who don't necessarily look like them.
In addition to diversity and inclusion issues, you've also been very vocal about abortion and the need for affordable health and reproductive care. Now, we're seeing more and more restrictions and bans being put into place in red states across America, including Texas. You talk about holding politicians and leaders accountable. So what are you doing to fight back?
I am a millennial / Gen Z, and I am definitely utilizing social media. So I have about 1 million followers, averaging about 20 to 30 million views per month. So I take my social platform that I have built through law school, and I create content that doesn't necessarily isolate or attack particular communities, but I start these conversations that are necessary, especially in deep South states such as mine. Texas has the most restrictive abortion laws that I've seen in a very long time. And to be able to partner with nonprofits like Planned Parenthood, I've been able to create viral pieces of content that teaches people who use social media where they can gain resources for reproductive health and also how to afford it and finance it. So I'm utilizing social media in a way, in a positive manner, at least to me, to impact people and make sure that they know and receive information that they desperately need.
Avery, I'd like to get some advice from you. I also am fairly active on social media. Yes, from you. And as a fellow Asian and as a fellow woman, some of the stuff that I get on social media is particular vitriolic. It's sexist, it's misogynistic, it's racist. I'm sure during the time that you have been Miss Texas before then, and even since then, especially with your presence being as far and wide as it is, How do you process that, or how do you deal with internet bullying or the type of responses you get from trolls when you're on social media?
During my time as Miss Texas, I especially experienced this. Many people would comment on a lot of my politically vocal content saying, you shouldn't be speaking this way. You shouldn't be so loud. You shouldn't be offering your opinions or commentary on abortion or immigration or gun reform. And then they would also attack my physical appearance. They would send me cuss words in my DMs. And what I do, certainly it is very disappointing, and it doesn't get any better as you grow on social media. But I like to keep what's called a miracle moments folder on my phone. And I screenshot all the good work that I have been doing, all of the emails that I receive from people across the world, all of the pictures I've taken with people I've met in person who have told me that I have helped change their lives in some shape or form, all of the comments I get where women are saying, I'm going to run for office because you've inspired me to do that. And I save that in a folder. And on days where I feel like I am not making any change, I go into that folder and I remind myself that I have impacted at least one person, and that's all that matters.
Well, you are making change just being you. I hear that running for office just might be in your future. You better let everybody know when you're ready to do that, and come back here and let us know so we can highlight it. But Avery Bishop, you are a hero for me. Thanks for joining us this morning.